Hello again, my name's Gabe Zollner. Just read an article posted on the 18th of October 2016. There's also an embedded video. The title of this is Donald Trump Proposes Term Limits for Congress. One day after he unveiled a new ethic plan, Donald Trump added one more potential reform to his wish list: a constitutional amendment to impose term limits on members of Congress. Quote, "If I'm elected president, I will push for a constitutional amendment to impose term limits on all members of Congress." End of quote. Trump said at a campaign rally in Colorado Springs Tuesday afternoon to sustained cheers from the crowd. Quote, "Right. They've been talking about that for years." End of quote. Now, I have said over the past 4 years that not only are term limits a requirement, so is drug testing. And I believe candidate Donald Trump said that he would push for that as well. It makes absolutely no sense that the lawmakers dictate who's drug tested when it comes to the little people, but they themselves don't require to be drug tested when it's clear that people like Nancy Pelosi have got some serious mental issues, either brought upon by genetics or by drugs. I'm convinced that if all of the representatives in Congress, 535 members between the Senate and Congress, were drug tested, we'd have probably a couple of hundred less that quick. Whether they're illegal drugs, whether they're booze related, or whether they're legal drugs, I'm convinced we would shrink Congress and the Senate immediately. Let's see what Donald does. Term limits are an absolute requirement. I read another article that was posted, and I'll attach that link as well. That other article talked about term limits. GOP lawmaker proposes term limits bill. It was published by The Hill. And you'll see what's interesting with that is that the bill, as it was proposed, excluded existing lawmakers. Only the new ones would be required to accept and comply with term limits. But the problem isn't the new ones. The problem is the existing ones. Having people like Senator John McCain hanging around doing his destructive deeds, having people like Jeffrey the Flake, 10 years as a congressman and now a senator, it shouldn't be allowed. You can't jump from one to the other. Donald's idea of preventing them from becoming lobbyists is an important one as well. I'll attach both links. Back on, May the 6th, 2015, the lawmaker, Representative Ron DeSantis, tried to propose a bill, and that would again have excluded the existing members. It would only be applicable to the new members, where they couldn't serve more than 2 terms in the Senate and 3 terms in Congress. It never passed. Did you expect that it would? They're not going to implement something that's going to impact their merry-go-round lifestyle. A lot more has to be done as well. They shouldn't be allowed to receive pensions, having served only 1 term. Their salaries need to be reviewed. They need to be made to work more than 100 days a year. They need to do a whole lot of things to make it right. But they won't do anything to throw their lifestyle off balance. That's sort of what I think. Let's hope that President Donald Trump does what he said he would do. Do a constitutional amendment, term limits for all members of Congress, not just the newbies. Drug testing for all members of Congress. We'll see, won't we?